I've been working on this for over a week now, and it's okay. It's a process. Hey y'all, what's up? It's your girl Chrissy. I am back with another YouTube video. So today we are recreating Vivienne Westwood's corset. I know you guys know what I'm talking about, okay? I feel like it kind of went viral because I did see a lot of YouTube tutorials over this about like 5 or 6 months ago. I've been wanting to recreate the look since then. So here we are. I have my own YouTube channel and I am going to attempt recreating the look. I'm going to put my inspo right here. I saw FKA Twigs wear this and it made me instantly attached, okay? So I kind of wanted to recreate it with the materials that I already have. So today for my materials, I'm using an old curtain that I used to have back when I was like a sophomore in college. And then I also have a couple yards of fabric that I took from my school before we shut down. So those are 2 items that I'm gonna be using today. I also have an invisible zipper, and I have some zip ties. Those are the 4 items that you need. Hopefully no more, hopefully no less, but I will definitely put the updated materials down below if I do use anything more than that. What I did is I looked up a YouTube video, which I will definitely link it below, on how to make your own personalized bodice. Especially if you're following along with me, I realized that draping just takes so much time and it's just easier just to have your own bodice. I went ahead, I did the measurements for my own, and I cut up my own bodice last night. This one is my front bodice and this one is my back bodice. So now that I have these bodice patterns, I'm going to go ahead and cut out my fabric. So I have my liquor bottles as paperweights, so just ignore them for this video. I'm just showing you guys how I transferred my bodice pattern to my fabric. So I did fold my fabric over right side, touching my bodice, and I'm leaving an inch seam allowance all around, besides in the center there. Don't leave it there or else it just won't fit right. So just make sure that you only do it on the outer borders, and make sure that you transfer your darts. So right now I'm showing you how I transferred my back bodice pattern onto my fabric. So I did do a cut 2 for this one, and I did not cut on fold, so I did want to show you guys how it was separating right there. Again, cut your seam allowance. I always cut an inch just because I'm still a scary designer and I cannot go off of 1/2 inch yet. And then I also just make sure that I transfer my darts, and like I said, make sure that you cut 2. Oh, I'm just demonstrations on demonstrations in this video, okay? So right now I'm just showing you guys how I sew in my darts. I always backstitch at the beginning and the end of my dart as well. Right here I'm just being extra, but I'm showing you guys how I pinned my bodice patterns that I just cut out onto my dress form. You don't have to have a dress form, I just have this one from school, so I used it. It's not my size, but I'm just showing you guys that I pinned at the side seam, and I also pinned at the shoulders, and I already finished all of my darts, just showing the girl off right now. So I attached one of my back pieces to my front piece, and I'm just showing you guys exactly how I'm going to cut this out. I did pin where I wanted the shirt to stop, and I just pinned it onto my garment. And I'm just showing you guys that I'm going to cut right there and right here. And I will be all good after I start this at the waist and cut all the way to the side, and I'm going to do that little bell curve at the bottom. I do like where I'm at right now. I'm gonna go ahead and seam rip this side and this side, detaching the front and the back. So now that I have it all cut out, seam rip the side seam. Once I'm done seam ripping, I'm going to trace the pattern onto my other fabric create my 2 sides and go ahead and sew them together. Use the same exact method. Sew in your darts and your front and your back pieces. After you're done creating those 2 pieces, sewing them together, you're going to go ahead and add your zipper, which I will show you once I get to that part. Now I'm just going to show you guys what I've accomplished so far with my top. Right now I have went ahead and put my curtain over it, and I think it's looking pretty nice. The only thing that I messed up with was with my directions. I told you guys to grab an invisible zipper, and baby, it just does not work with this shirt, mainly because, here, I'll show you guys. So I tried putting in the zipper already. Right here you can see where I already took out the zipper. It didn't work because there was no like allowance for my arms to go through it, or like me stepping into it. It was too contoured to like my top. I went ahead and got this zipper from Joann's. It is the kind that is detachable, and you could go ahead and zip it up per se a jacket. I thought that this was gonna be the smartest decision for my top, mainly because I needed to like put it on and take it off. Like, it did not work. So since I went through that tragic moment, I'm gonna go ahead and sew on the right zipper. It'll just make your life easier, to be honest. So here we go. I'm gonna show you guys how exactly I sew on the zipper in a moment. So this is the right side of my fabric. I went ahead and pinned the right side of the zipper down on the right side of it as I'm looking at it. So I know you guys are probably gonna be like, what did you do? So I had to create a stop. I found like a DIY little hack on using the other end of the zipper that you cut off and burning them together. So I just used my lighter, I burned them together to create that stop. I didn't feel like going out and buying another zipper that was shorter. So this is a DIY channel. I'm teaching you guys how to DIY this stop. From the piece that I cut off, I literally just cut off a section, took it off, slapped it on here, clipped them together, burned it, and then I used my tweezers to kind of clamp them together to make them melt together. So if you need to create a stop, that's exactly what you would do. And now you see when I zip it up, it stops and it doesn't come off the track. I did pin right sides together, and I'm gonna go ahead and sew as close as I can to this line. So now you see when I flip it out, my zipper is as close to my garment as possible. I'm gonna go ahead and do this on the other side. Same thing, you're gonna put the right sides of the zipper together. You're going to pin on this side, and same thing. So all the way along the zipper as close as you can to achieve that invisible look. So I have her on right now, I am not gonna lie. I kind of did that. Add my boning. I'm gonna add 1 on my obliques right here on the other side, and I'm adding 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So in total, I'm gonna have 8 all together. I'm gonna go ahead and add that boning. I'm not gonna lie, she's kind of tight, and my breath is kind of short talking in this. So I did put my zipper a little closer than it needed to be, because when I tried it on before, it was loose. And honestly, I could go back later, but just for the sake of this video, I'm gonna go ahead, add the boning, and I'll fix my zipper at a later point. So this is what she looks like right now. I love it, I'm not gonna lie. This is my shirt, so ignore that. But I do really, really like, love the fit. So like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and add my boning, and I'll be right back. So for my boning, this is what I decided to go with. My zip ties weren't long enough, so we're just gonna have to wing it. That's okay. I added 1, oh, let me get my charger out the way. I added 1 for the obliques on each side, and then I added this part for the upper bust, and I added 3 channels on both ends. Before I lift these up, I am going to mark exactly where I want my channels to land. I'm going to show you guys how I sew one channel, and then I will be back once I am done sewing all the channels and I have placed the zip ties in, and we'll be done. I'm not sewing that close to the outer edge just because I know that this will there's your tube. I'm gonna go ahead and do it 50 more times, and then I will show you guys the next step. I left my fan on in this clip, so just to avoid the annoying background sound, I'm just going to do a little voiceover. So I am filing down. I cut off the heads of the zip ties and I filed it down so when it stopped me or mess up my garment. I also traced over exactly where I wanted my channels to land. So I'm showing you guys my channels that I sewn. I did measure out exactly how long they needed to be. And then I basically cut that 1 inch width along with the length that I initially measured out. So I'm just showing you guys that I'm laying down the channels first. I'm going to pin those down, and then I'm going to insert the zip tie and lay it all down, pin it all down, and sew it together flat. So I'm just showing you guys exactly what it looked like. That's why I chose the white zip tie, just because I knew that I was going to have this transparent curtain. And I didn't want to buy the black zip ties because it would just ruin the whole aesthetic. Another thing that ruined the aesthetic for me, at least, it just didn't give it that professional look at the end that I wanted. Mainly because I didn't have a loop turner. So if I could have redone this thing, I would have bought a loop turner. I would have turned all the channels inside out so you couldn't see where I sewn them together, and then I would have did a top stitch on either sides to hold the zip tie in place. But instead I had to leave that excess fabric out, and along with top stitching on both sides, and at the end it just looked really frayed, like my material was just coming apart. It wasn't the finish that I'd like. So I'm back. I went ahead and pinned together the top. Like I said, I did go ahead and sew the bottom 8 channels, and they already have their zip ties in them. So I'm just gonna briefly go over, just because I feel like even if I recorded myself sewing, it would still be kind of confusing. What I did, I pinned together the side that was already stitched from me sewing the channels just by themselves. I went ahead, I pinned them onto my garment, I slid in the zip ties, and what I'm going to do next, I am going to sew the outer edge that's not stitched just to hold it in place, and then I go ahead and sew around here, and then I just sew the bottom here right where my pins are to close it up, and I do the same thing here, and I back stitch just to keep it in place. This is what I have so far. I really wish I had a loop turner to make these edges look way better than this, but I'm working with what I have. I really wanted to challenge myself by not having to go to the store multiple times, and especially during these times with COVID and all that, why not just work with what you have? You know, we're mainly at home, and I was like, okay girl, let's go ahead and get yourself together. Okay, so I'm here, sew this together, and then I'm done. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up here. To be honest, my roommate is gonna help me take some pictures outside. I was hoping that the sun was gonna be out, but she's not, as you can tell. I've been working on this for over a week now, and it's okay. It's a process, and this is what I have, and I'm really excited. So once I sew this together, I'm going to touch up my makeup. We're gonna go outside and take some pics. So I'll definitely post the videos afterwards of what this looked like. that subscribe button, go ahead, do it now. Go ahead, give me a thumbs up for this video, please and thank you. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.